Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to do some hair today. I'm going to be showing you how to do this hair right here. It's extremely beautiful. It's two-toned. It starts off blue and then ends up green. And I use these to attach to my wigs inside. I'll pick up the tracks and add it to it, and it gives it volume and everything, and it's really beautiful. And I'll be showing you how to do that, and I'll show you the materials you'll need. It's quite a lot of materials. You can substitute some things if you don't have them, like the pet brush. You can substitute for the purple one that I have on there, or one that looks like the purple one. And then you can use different curlers. Just don't use the curlers with the teeth. If you use curlers with the teeth, they will grab your hair and they won't let go, and you'll just have to throw everything away. And I've done that so many times, and it's not worth the effort with those. So just don't bother with those. And then a hair dryer, you won't be using one with high heat, so you don't need a high heat hair dryer. And then there's the one thing that I won't be showing you on here. Well, I might take a picture of it later, but and insert it. But is my steamer. It's just a regular clothing steamer. I got it at Rite Aid, and it's just a clothing steamer. And I use that to steam the hair to get the curls, and then I use the hairspray to set the curls. And then what else is there? You'll need either a comb or a dread comb like this one right here. You don't need a dread comb. I prefer the dread comb because it's easier and it's metal and it won't break ever, like on me, and it won't bend, it won't break. So it's a pretty good comb, and I recommend anybody who does hair to get one of these. And it's good for back combing, like extreme back combing. But you'll be needing two colors. You can do this with one color, but I prefer two colors because it gives a nice dimension and it's just beautiful. And you can use two colors or one color of hair, and I'll show you the product that I use, and it is Free. I get this from my local, well, it's not really local, but I get this from the next town over, and it's Kanekalon Free hair, which Free, I have no idea what that means or any of this packaging meaning. I just know that you need Kanekalon. It has to be, let's see if that focuses. It has to be Kanekalon. If it's not Kanekalon, it will not work at all. And there's two types of Kanekalon that I know of, and there's the Super Jumbo braid, which I don't have. I opened it and I used it, but it's thick and it's wavy, and it's good for dreads. If you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of curly. It's really crunchy, and it's only good for dreads. That's the only thing that I can probably use it for. And I can probably use it for braids if I straighten it out and make it silky, but other than that, there's really no reason for this. It's just for dreads, and I love making dreads, and this is really good for dreads. And I'll be using green and blue, and I already have some pre-made, but I will be showing you how to blend the top with the bottom, so you can get this one's just tops. Where's my, oh, here we go. So you get the top part, which is blended with green and blue, and then it fades down into just green. I don't think I'll be showing you that. I'll send you to a video that will actually show you how to do that, and it's from Dr. Locks, and they do a lot of good stuff. I watched almost every single one of their videos for hair. They show you extensions, they show you everything. It's a really great channel, so I urge you to go watch that. That's where I learned a lot of my stuff from. So today I'll just be showing you how to do my little inserts for your hair. You can go on eBay and buy these little clips for your hair and sew these on to the back of this like that, and then clip it into your wig. But preferably, for me, I like to just sew them directly like this into it. There's nothing really holding it together except for the back combing and a little piece of, I guess, yarn or something that I had. But this pretty much will stay. It won't come out at all. You can pull it, it stays still. So one last thing you'll need is a wig. You'll need any color wig it is. Whatever color you're going with, you want to do the darkest color. It's easier to work from dark to putting light in. At least that's what I feel. You can do it the other way around. You can put dark into light, but preferably I like to put light colors into dark. Like I'm using a black wig. I've had this for a while. This is a newer wig of one of mine, and I screwed it up. I wanted a different style in it, so I figured I'd do something that I've never done before, and I messed up. So I am at the point putting all the curls back into it, which was a mistake, so I have to redo it. But I will show you how I put this in. First off, you need to section your wig. See, I've sectioned it off into little sections, and make sure that there are sections where you want to put your piece in. And first, before you put your piece in, you want to make sure you style your hair to the style of your pieces, because if you have straight hair with curly pieces in it, it's going to look funny. You can put curly pieces at the bottom with straight hair on top. I don't think that would be fun. That'd be completely fine, but it's up to you. Your style is your style, so it's up to you. Okay, so once you learn how to blend your hair and you get the desired look that you want, and you can go from green to blue or whatever color you like. You can do red to black, pink to or purple to pink. Make sure you have a darker color on top and a lighter color on the bottom. It just gives more dimension and it just looks more real. And well, you know what I mean. And once you get the desired color that you want and the shape that you, or the blend that you like, you want to make sure that you tie it in the middle, which I've already done. There's a little tie right there. I've tied it in the middle, and then you take your dread comb or your comb or whatever comb you have, and you want to back comb. You want to hold the pieces together like this, and you want to back comb. Just back comb it all back up in there, and you want to turn it over. You want to back comb it on the back too. They don't have to be together, just as long as you back comb it and you create these two like bunches right here. They have to be really tight. If they're loose, it'll just come loose. So you want to keep pushing it back as tight as you can, because later on you're just going to be ripping this to create volume. So just put it back as far as you can, and you'll feel it. There'd be a knot here. There'd be a knot here and a knot here. And if the knots aren't big enough, just you can make the knots as big as you like. I like them kind of small, so they fit into my wig. You can make them bigger to give you more volume in your wig, but for the wig that I'm doing now, it doesn't need that much volume. So you just back comb it as far as you can. Get the knots as big as you like. I can get this one a little bit bigger. You want to make sure you hold one side, and because you're doing tight knots, usually you hold this lighter, but because I'm doing tight knots, I want to hold it tight and get all those loose hairs down in there. By the way, this is my craft table. It's where I sew and hot glue and everything. That's why it looks kind of terrible. Eventually I end up painting it, but when I have time, when I'm not doing anything. But other than that. Okay, now that you have the two knots, you're ready to separate the hair. The smaller the piece, the easier it is. The easier it's gonna be to steam, and the easier it is gonna style. So you want to do small sections. If you do giant sections, which you can do, which I do if I'm lazy and I don't have that much time to do this, I'll just do 2 big sections. I'll curl them, steam them, take them out, set them with some hairspray, and then hold them in my hand, and then blow dry it, and then rip them apart. And then you have to hair dry it. You have to lift it in your hand again, hair dry it, blow dry it, just to get the shape back, because when you're ripping it, when you're taking both of the pieces apart, they will lose their shape. Even though you steamed it, they'll still lose their shape. So you want to do small pieces. So divide it into small pieces. You don't want them too small, because then otherwise you're just doing little strands of hair. So about that big is fine. And remember the knot that we put there. You want to rip it, like just like that. See how that just gave that a little bit of volume? How it's going up like that? That's what you want. Okay, you want to rip it. See, it gives it nice volume. Especially if you're going to use this on the top of your wig. If you rip it, you won't see the tie and you won't see where they connect. It's actually pretty perfect. You can also do tight curls with this and do an updo, which I'm probably going to end up working on now that I said it. I haven't really thought about it, but now I did, so I'm probably going to make it now. So now you go over to the other side and you do the same thing. You pulled the hair back, and since you've divided it now, it's perfectly fine to let go because you pulled the hair and you ripped that area. So now when you let go, it'll just automatically be separated where you ripped it, because now it's just sticking together. As you can see, like right there. See, no matter if I mess this up, it's kind of dummy proof. See, they go right back to where you ripped them. Okay, dummy proof method. Just remember to back comb, and when you're separating the hair, to rip it all the way down. But you just rip it all the way down, and then once you rip it, you just created a part of hair that will stay that way. Now we go on to curling, and what I use, I don't exactly remember what these are called, but the name makes no sense. I think they're I don't even remember. But it irritated me because I couldn't figure out how to use these when I first got them. And now I just made up my own method. You're supposed to use alligator clips, but they're expensive. And they're like, for like 5 of them, they're like $8. When for 99 cents or $2, I can get 300 of these bobby pins. And they work exactly the same. So I don't see what the problem is. I'm always cutting corners. But you got to make sure the corners that you cut are the corners that you can cut. Otherwise, you're going to mess up somewhere. Okay. Now, curling this is it depends on you. If you're doing an updo, I suggest curling this way towards the middle, so you can pin all the hair together, because you can pin the hair in the middle here, and you can create a really big updo piece. Right here in the middle, you can just pin it all right there. But for what I'm doing are little pieces to add to the wig. So I will be rolling this way, underneath the wig, instead of above. You want to get your bobby pin and slide it into the side and put it down as far to the root as possible, because right where you put this bobby pin, there's going to be a line, and you don't want to be able to see that line, because that line will screw up your whole thing. So just put it all the way towards the end, to the thickest part, to where it's barely touching. So when you take the bobby pin out, you won't see the line, and then you just repeat that all the way around. You don't have to worry about all the little pieces that are sticking up, because in the end, you'll be taking a pair of scissors and cutting off all of that frizz. I hate frizz, so I'll be sitting there, I'll sit there forever with even smaller scissors than this, cutting off all the frizz. And also, if you have a head and it's moving around like this, and you don't have a tabletop thing like I do to stick it on and it stays still, use a tripod. You can find something in the house. You can also just duct tape this down from the neck to the table, and it won't move. But you can also just use, like I use my tripod, but I'm using it for my camera right now, so it'll be moving around a little bit. So it'll be a little difficult, but you can always find a way. Okay, so this is my steamer. You can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's bubbling up right now. This is a Conair something or other. I have no clue. I bought it on sale from Rite Aid for $10 or $20. And if I waited like another week, it would have been like 10, but I needed it. So I bought it for 20, and it works extremely well. This is the head of it. The part that touches the hair. As you can see, I've used it a lot, and it has a couple of holes here, and so it heats up a lot at one time. But the issue that I have with this is that it heats up and then stops. It heats up and then stops. So you have to. So it takes you a little while, and you have to get used to it. So I recommend finding a better one. Usually those handheld ones with the nozzle at the end that have the big red bottom. I don't remember what they're called, but they look like kettles. So now I just have to wait for this to heat up. Okay, now it's started. And what you do is you take it and you roll it over. You want to make sure you go underneath. I say to hold it, but I don't know. Like, you want to hold one side and bring it over to the other to make sure you get it all the way underneath. Ouch. Be careful. I just burned myself. You'll see it start to shrink a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on camera because I have to have this over it, but if you can tell, it's a lot tighter. Okay, it's done. And then when you fill it, you'll also know that it's done because the whole thing's really hot. Ouch. This one might not be done, but for the sake of this video, I gotta cut it short. Okay, I'm gonna take some hairspray. I use Aquanet. It's the only good kind for wigs, in my opinion. Well, for fake wigs. For human hair wigs, I suggest something that would condition your wig or something better than this. If it's a human hair wig, you don't want to ruin your wig. So you just lightly spray. You don't want to get it crunchy, because if you get it crunchy, then because I'm having this down instead of up, so it's gonna, if it gets crunchy, it's gonna be all, it'll feel crunchy and it'll be really uncomfortable. So if you wear this as an updo, you can make it as crunchy as you like. That's up to you. And then you want to take your blow dryer and then dry it, because it's still a little wet from the steamer, but you don't need it on high heat, just cool. Okay, now that you see like there's some frizz on here, at this point you can cut the frizz off if you want, which I would probably do. But because I'm doing this for the video, I'm not going to sit here and cut it off and have it fast forward through the entire time that I'm cutting it. So I'm just going to do this as is, but at this point you can cut some frizz off if you want to. But for me, I'm just going to leave it there for right now. I'll be cutting it off later. I'll be going crazy with it. And then when you take these off, you want to make sure that you do not just unroll it like this. If you unroll it like that, everything, your little curls that you put in will become big curls. Your big curls will be flat if you do that. So when you take these out, you want to twist it up and pull up like this. And you have a curl. But let's do it again. Okay, when you take this out, you can pull up or you can pull down, either way, but you want to pull it sideways. You don't want to roll it out. So you pull it sideways and you just pull it out, and your curl stays in there. Okay, I've got two more. Okay, so now you have your curls in the wig. Put everything to the side. And then now that you have your curls in the wig, if you made them big at this point, you want to pull them apart. Like here's one that I don't want together. You can pull this apart, but be very gentle. And yes, this will cause frizz, so I'll show you how to undo all that disgusting frizz. Okay, see, some of the curl just came out. So you want to spray it, smooth it, and then put it in your hand. And you want, when you smooth it, you want to smooth it very lightly. You don't want to pull the hair. And then you spray it. You can bounce it a little bit, or you can blow dry it. If I can and then you got your curl back. Okay, now the other side. You want to spray. You want to smooth. See, I'm just holding it in my hand, and the thumb just smooths out like that. And then you get the ends. The ends you can twist in the direction of the curl. See, there's the end, and I'll twist it in the direction of the curl to smooth that out. See how it's already smooth? And then you want to put it in your hand. You want to make sure that it waves in the direction that it's waving, and then spray it again very lightly, and take your blow dryer. And you got your curls back. But you want to remember that you don't need a high heat when you do your hairspray. And then, just like before, you want to rip that right there. So there you go. Now you can either back comb this like I like to do, which I'll show you how to do right now with my dread comb. Back comb this, you want to hold the curl in your hand, and depending on which way you're going, if you're going to make the curls on the bottom like I did, if the curls are going down, you want to back comb on the back of them. If they're going up, you want to curl on the front of them. Like if I'm going to put these up on top of here, I want to back comb here in the middle, because people are going to see this side. So because people are going to see the top and not the bottom, you want to back comb the bottom. So you want to back comb the opposite. Now, because you don't want your curl ruined, you want to hold it kind of tight and get whatever frizz you have up here and pull it down. See how that pulled down all that frizz? You can see it right there. Now you pull it over. You can spray that again, but now it's going up a little bit. So it gives it a little bit of volume. And takes away some of that nasty frizz. Okay, now you want to get your wig and you want to sew them in. I'm not going to exactly show you how to sew them in, because everybody should know how to sew. It's just a regular sewing. It's nothing really special. You just sew it on. You sew it to 2 tracks instead of just 1, because it is pretty thick. If you have a thinner one, then you can sew it onto 1 track. But I like to sew it on 2 tracks, so it's not so it's secure. And you want to make sure that you sew it in more than one place, and you want to sew it in the places that you back combed. If you decide to sew it on this area here, it'll fall out. So you want to make sure that it's in the middle, and in some of these back combs right here, you want to sew it in more places than just 1, so it's in there. But you want to make sure that you sew it in on the same 2 tracks, because if you sew it on these 2 tracks and these 2 tracks down here, the hair is not going to lay correctly. So you want to sew it to the 2 tracks and 2 tracks only, and you want to sew it in a bunch of different places on the same track. So if I'm sewing it here, I want to make sure that I follow those 2 tracks and sew it on those 2 tracks here. And then if I'm sewing it, if I want to put another one, I follow those 2 tracks that I sewed these 2 already on and put it right there. And then also it just gives you volume, and then you can just flip your hair over it, give it a little, I still have to style this one, but you want to give it a little bit of back comb so it hides this underneath and it gives you volume. Also, you can turn the wig. Okay, we're going to ditch the head. Okay, this is the inside of the wig. That's the inside of the wig. And then there's 2 notches that are for the ear. Let's see if I can find them. Okay, here's a notch for the ear on this side. And here's a notch for the ear on this side. So there's 2 notches for that's the front of the ear. Those are your sideburns. Now you want to sew for the hair underneath. If you want the hair underneath the wig, you want to sew it along this line here. So you take this, and you don't want to just sew it like this where the hair is going up this way and this hair is going down, because that'll just be ridiculous. It won't give you any volume. It'll look funny. So you want to sew it in the same direction as the hair. So the hair goes down when you're holding it upside down, and the hair goes down. And then you sew it onto that piece right there behind the, what are these things called? The sideburns. You can also make a small piece and sew it inside the sideburn. So the style is up to you. You can add as many of these as you want. So I don't have a finished wig, so I can't show you the finished product, but you can see the finished piece. I have another one. I still have to fix this one. This one has a lot of frizz. And there's that one. I like to alternate the colors. See how there's more blue in this one, there's a little more green in this one, and then I'll mix and match. I think if everything's not the same, it looks like it's more natural, because nature is somewhat symmetrical, but not completely. So it just looks awesome like this, and these look like something from the ocean. So it's kind of cool. And this is for my sea witch costume that I'm making. Don't bother me. I'm tired. I need to go wash this out of my hair. So subscribe, whore.
Yeah, it starts to... Ooh, my camera. See, it gets a lot tighter on there, and... Ow, my finger. You gotta be careful. I've never done this on camera before, so... I'm burning the crap out of myself. But, ooh, my camera. Okay, let's do this one way out on this side. Let's see. If you can see it. Ooh, my camera. You're not gonna be able to see it, because this is right over it. Here's this one. I don't know if I'll be able to let you see this, but it shrinks, and you'll know when it's done. And you want to make sure that you get all of it. Ooh, my sewing machine. Not again. Oop. Gotta move my camera. Let me pull this back a little bit.